melting. So I always start out on high heat. Then over here, while that butter's melting, I've got a box of spinach. I use baby organic spinach. And I've got a little salt and pepper, a little garlic powder, onion powder. And this is just a little slurry, a tablespoon of cornstarch and water, cold water. And it's important that it's cold so it doesn't get lumpy. Then I have a little half and half, a little organic half and half, and a little Parmesan cheese or Romano. So back to the butter. It's melting. All right, so I'm going to take out my spinach. There we go. It's hard to do this with one hand. I got a helper. All right, so I'm putting the spinach in here. So you want to get it in before it turns brown, all the butter. You don't want to burn it. So I just get that spinach in. Look, it's a lot of spinach, but you can put it all in. We'll put it in and let it cook down a little bit. You'll see. It's amazing how small it gets. Now I just started this got all my ingredients out about 5 minutes ago. That's how fast this is. Alright, so stir it a little, and the heat will just bring it right down. A little garlic powder, probably a teaspoon or so. Onion powder. You can use onions and garlic, but that's just another step if you're trying to be faster in the week. A little bit of salt. You don't want too much because when you cook it down, it'll be really salty if you put too much in there. And some fresh cracked pepper. I actually put a little sprinkle of crushed red pepper, so I like that. A little boom, 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 boom. All right, and I'll get this stirred up. As you can see in the background, there's a roast chicken that I took out. So I had that ready to put in the oven when I went to the gym. So I can exercise and I can cook every night. Easy. If you have a plan. Now I'm keeping this on high while I'm stirring it around, just because there's a lot of water in spinach, so it'll help, the high heat will help it to cook down faster, but then it helps to evaporate the water too at the same time. Same thing with zucchini, it's got a lot of water content, and it won't be watery if you keep the heat up kind of high. So you can see how fast it's cooking down there. We're almost there. Alright, now I'm going to turn it down a little bit, and I'm going to get my half and half in there. I'm just putting enough in there to make a little sauce. You could use milk too if you wanted. We eat butter, and we just don't eat real heavy things. I don't eat the chicken skins, things like that, but we try to eat real food, whole foods. Alright, that's probably about, I'm going to say, half a cup maybe a little bit more. And this is going to be for 4 of us, and we'll probably have leftovers too. Alright, so you get that simmering a little bit so that the liquid's warm, or bubbly a little. Then you can put your cornstarch in. So that's always a trick, because I also don't eat gluten. You could do this with flour too, but you can do it with cornstarch and water just as easily. Now it's starting to bubble, and I'm going to just pour this in. This is my slurry that I made, like a tablespoon of cornstarch and cold water, because then it won't get lumpy. Okay, and then that's going to thicken up when I leave it on the heat for a minute, and you'll see. It's going to be bubbly. and all incorporated. And then also when I add a little bit of the Parmesan cheese, that acid from that cheese is going to make it thicker, a little bit thicker. So you can see it's starting to get thick now. And if the liquid's very hot, it'll get thick pretty instantly. So that looks pretty good. Now it's probably going to get a little thicker as I let it sit. I'm letting it cook for a second just to make sure it's not tasting like cornstarch. Then I'm going to put my Parmesan cheese. I'm just going to turn the heat off because I'm using an electric stove, so it takes a minute for it to go off. I'm going to say probably about a quarter cup of Parmesan or Romano cheese. That's enough. Because that's also got salt in it too. That's another reason why you don't want to put too much salt in here. So now because there's still the heat on here, you see it even's getting a little bit thicker, I'm going to just take it off because I don't want it to really cook